If you're alive now and watching this video, you owe it to this man. Don't you know him? Yes, you probably don't know him, but he saved your life. A few minutes, I will tell you who he is and who saved you from certain death. You may not believe it, but during the Cold War, the destruction of each side depended on pressing a button. During the Cold War, things happened that, when we think about it, we realize how lucky we were that the world didn't end and we weren't all killed. In 1962, the world was stuck in the grip of two selfish superpowers, and nothing but their power would satisfy them. It was in this year that the Cuban Missile Crisis happened. In 1961, America decided to overthrow the Cuban government. This American decision made the Cuban government ask for help from the Soviet Union. At that time, Nikita Khrushchev was the leader of the Soviet Union. When the request for help came from Cuba, Khrushchev was very happy. He said to himself, "Bye. We have been asked for help in America's backyard." Khrushchev not only provided military aid to Cuba, but also secretly sent atomic bombs to Cuba. Before this, the Soviet Union had not responded to the request of any country so quickly. The communists were very happy that they are going to Florida. They said that now is the time to treat America like itself. Just as the US deployed atomic bombs in Italy and Turkey to threaten the Soviet Union, we are doing the same in Cuba. The tension between these two superpowers was increasing day by day, until on October 16, 1962, the Americans found out that Soviet atomic bombs had been deployed in Cuba. The generals of the American army agreed on the same day to destroy all the Soviet missiles in Cuba immediately. They decided to destroy Cuba with a large number of planes. But then US President John F. Kennedy said no. Wait, this is a stupid thing to do. He told the generals, why attack? It is better not to let them breathe, and 6 days later, he ordered that every ship going to Cuba be stopped and that Cuba be surrounded somehow. But this action of America created a bigger problem, and that was that when you attack the ships of a country in international waters, it is a kind of declaration of war because that ship didn't enter the waters of your country. When Khrushchev heard of this American action, he was angry and immediately wrote a letter to John F. Kennedy. In this letter, he said that when you violate us in open waters and in open space, it means that you are declaring war on us, and this could be the beginning of a nuclear war. After Khrushchev's letter, the worst period of Cold War began. That is, the era when the Cold War could turn into a hot war at any moment and the fire of nuclear war would burn the world. John F. Kennedy replied to Khrushchev that if you want to embargo on the ships to stop, remove the atomic bombs from Cuba. Khrushchev said no. We didn't come to fight. These are only for the defense of Cuba. After these talks, the tension became harder and harder day by day. One of the best planes that America made for spying was Lockheed U-2. On October 27, 1962, the Americans sent a U-2 spy piloted by Rudolph Anderson to the Cuban sky. He fell into the trap of the Soviet radars, and they tracked him down and hit him with a rocket. In a few moments, the person who saved you from certain death will enter the story. Before entering, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please support us. On the same day after the crash of the Lockheed U-2 plane, one of the US warships stationed near the Cuba in the ocean detected that a submarine was passing under the water. They understood that the submarine belongs to the Soviets. For this reason, sent a bomb down to explode near the submarine. Of course, the Americans didn't want to damage that submarine. This was a warning to come to the surface of the sea to talk each other. But the submarine commanders thought otherwise. They said that the war has probably started. They were deep in the water and their wireless signal couldn't communicate anywhere. For this reason, thinking that the war must have started, they immediately went to the atomic bomb that was installed on the submarine and decided to shoot the atomic bombs. According to the law, 3 people must approve this shot. The captain of the submarine and one of the officers confirmed to fire, but the 3rd person said no. The 3rd person was Vasili Arkhipov. At that moment, the fate of the world was in Vasili's hands. Because if Vasili had allowed to shoot, an atomic bomb would have been thrown towards America, and it was not known many other atomic bombs would explode in other parts of the world. At that moment, the life and death of many people was in their hands. But fortunately, those 2 people couldn't satisfy Vasili. On the same night that these events happened in the Soviet submarine, unfortunately, Vasili didn't consent. The Soviet ambassador to the United States met with Robert Kennedy, the brother of the American president. They signed an agreement, and according to that agreement, it was decided that America would withdraw its atomic bombs from Turkey and Italy, and the Soviet Union would also withdraw from Cuba. Interestingly, the day after the agreement between the 2, the Soviet Union began to leave Cuba. After this agreement, the people of both countries mocked their governments. They didn't know what would happen to the world if this conflict happened. Americans mocked Kennedy and Russians mocked Khrushchev. If Vasili had confirmed that night, the atomic bomb would have been fired and we can say that the world would have turned into hell. My idea is that this war would be so widespread that all humans would be killed by nuclear bombs. Vasili did a great job. After that incident, he was recognized as a hero in the eyes of the people of the world. People said that if Vasili was a selfish person, he would have approved it. But he knew the end of this work. That is why he didn't consent. Vasili's fame reached the point where many people in the world said that he should be given the Nobel Peace Prize. Now you know why he saved your life. Write a sentence for Vasili.